Um, I'm Pete White. If those of you who don't know me, I'm Director of Children and Youth for the Diocese, and I'm going to be leading the session along with Claire Reitz, who you can see on screen there, giving us a wave. Claire's children's worker, children and families worker at Tove Benefice down in Towcester, doing a great job there, and it's going to help me out this evening. So thanks for choosing this session. Christmas is all about children, as you know, and it's a really significant, important time for us to be reaching out to them. And I really believe that the pandemic is giving us a new opportunity that we've perhaps not had before to really make a change to the way we do Christmas, as Nolan said, to do it a bit slower and be a bit simpler maybe, but also I think to get out of the church building and to go to people, to reach them where they are in their schools and homes and communities, rather than expecting them to come to us in our church buildings. So we're going to give you just three simple ideas this evening: one thing for school, one thing for home, one thing for the church and the community, and all of which will fit into the zone that was it the green zone that you can do under lockdown, and maybe then be flexible with if you need to. Our core message that we want you to take away is that if you don't do anything else, or what you want to do over Christmas is to tell the story, just to tell the nativity story. Get the story out there. The story is a powerful story, that God is with us, that God is not socially distant, that God has come to us to bring life and hope, as both Nolan and Bishop John have already said. And so let's tell that story, because many of these children and families won't hear it if we don't tell it to them. So there'll be opportunity. We're just going to talk to you for half the time and then give opportunity for questions, but please use the chat function on the bottom of your screen if you use that, and to post questions as we go along so we can pick them up, because time is quite tight. We're also going to hold a follow-up meeting on the 20th of October. If you'd like to join us on that, that'll be 8 o'clock on Zoom, and we'll put some details out about that, but just a chance to have a bit of a longer discussion for you if you'd like to talk more about children and families and Christmas. So I will stop talking there, and I'm going to hand over to Claire. Claire's going to start off by talking about what we can do in the home.
Thanks, Pete. Yes, so what can we do to equip our families this Christmas? What can we offer to parents and children and grandparents to share the Christmas story at home? And how are we going to start those conversations that are so important? How are we going to ask those questions? So I've just got two really simple ideas that you may wish to take back with you, and they are both based on paper bags. So I'm going to suggest two different things that you can do with your paper bags over Christmas, over Advent. And the first one is that I'm going to fill my paper bags with Advent crafts. Now, this is to replace our messy church sessions that we would be having during Advent. And also it might be something that you'd like to think about for any of your toddler group families as well. So those bags are going to have some simple crafts in them, but they're also going to have some literature in them so that we can guide those discussions, can encourage prayer as well. One of the things that I do with some of the families that I work with is offer a prayer template. So it could be something really simple. Dear God, today I am grateful for. But it really encourages families to pray, people who perhaps don't pray out loud regularly or don't pray with their children. So that is just as much more important than the crafts that go alongside those. So I've written mine, and that's going to be up on the Padlet board, which you'll all have access to, and you'll be able to edit it and change it so that it suits your context and whoever you're wanting your craft bags to go out to. The other thing that I'm going to do is some Advent prayer bags. Now, these are for all people of any age, people who are part of big families or who are on their own. And this idea is to enable people to have some time to reflect and be still, think about the year that's gone and the year ahead as well. And it's just allowing them to have space to do this in their own homes when they might not be able to go into church. So my Advent prayer bag's going to have 6 or 7 activities in it, which sounds like a lot, but they're going to be really simple. So I'll just go through a couple of them with you. I won't go through all of them. They'll all be up on the Padlet board. So one thing that you might put in your Advent prayer bag would be a seed. That would obviously need to go in some kind of other bag so that it doesn't get lost. But what are our seeds of hope during Advent? What are we hoping for this season and into next year? Another thing that you could put in there would be a stone. So we'd be thinking about, what are we carrying with us? What's weighing us down? And maybe we could do something with that stone to offer those issues up to God. We could throw it into a bowl of water, take it to some water nearby, or something like that. And the third thing that I just want to share would be a candle, just that reminder to our families that Jesus is the light of the world and he will walk with us if we ask him to. So not only to use the candle for prayer time or encourage prayer at home, but actually maybe we could ask people to carry that candle around with them. Put it in your pocket. Jesus is with you no matter where you are. Take it into school, share it with your friends, things like that. So I hope that that's just a couple of ideas of things that we can do to encourage faith in the home during Advent.
Brilliant, thanks Claire. So the next one is something you can do in your local school, whether that's a church school or a community school. And again, it's to tell the story, but to tell the story using puppets. And this is something that Charlotte Nobbs has put together for us. And there's a clip there of Charlotte telling the story with puppets. That's a 10-minute film, or slightly less than 10 minutes, aimed at families and young children, preschool or primary school aged children. And it's a resource that you can send to the school or take into the school and use yourselves in a bubble assembly, or some schools are recording their assemblies to one group and then distributing it around the classrooms. And so either you or the teachers could use that. And then alongside that, Charlotte's produced some lesson plan resources, activities that teachers can use in the classrooms to follow up on watching the film. So it's a great resource. It's really well prepared, and it's free. And I think if you were to offer this to your schools, you'd find they'd probably snap your hand off for it. I think a lot of teachers are really hard pressed. Those I spoke to were pretty tired a couple of weeks ago, and they've still got another couple of weeks before half term, let alone Christmas. So again, contact your head teacher, and if you're in touch with them already, great. If you're not, this is a great opportunity to get in touch with your local school. The third thing is something to do with your church family, but also to involve your local community, whether that's a village or a housing estate or just the neighbourhood around your church. And that's to create an Advent or a nativity trail. And we found possibly what that might look like is that you produce a map, something like that, or you could do it on Google Maps of your area, and you ask people in your community, people from your church, but maybe others, to decorate a window or their front garden with a scene from the Nativity, or maybe with stars or angels. And you create a trail of number those houses on a map, and people go and find them. And then you end up in your churchyard where you set up a nativity scene. Now, you could do the nativity scene without the trail, but or you could do the trail without the nativity scene, but we think they go together really well. And this sort of follows on an idea a bit about scarecrow festivals where people go around scarecrows. So if you've got one of those in your area, then maybe to get people to do scarecrow nativity scenes might be quite exciting. Who knows? So the idea then is you build something like a nativity scene. Now this one we found on the internet, and just very simple bits of board with the characters on, or you might do something a bit more elaborate with cutout characters, or as I say, with scarecrows or modelled figures, depending on how creative you want to be and how many people you've got around who are creative. Or you could just provide a frame and then put your characters inside that. Or another way would be to create some letters on the theme of joy or hope, or Jesus is the light or something. It's up to you. And the last suggestion is this blow-up inflatable nativity scene, which I really like, and we just bought one of these off Amazon for about £120, and we're looking forward to having some fun with that. So those are some ideas, and we'll stop talking there. We've probably got about 8 or 9 minutes left and there's no questions come through on the chat yet. So does anybody have any questions about anything we've said? We've rushed through some of that, so we could just give you a chance to come back to us with your questions or thoughts. Sorry, Chris, didn't see you there. Go for it.
So, Pete, for your nativity trail, which I really like, are you suggesting get lots of people in advance to prepare something to stick in their windows so that they can do it? So you need friendly people or church folk who hopefully will be friendly too, who live in the right sort of area. Is that the plan? So a fair bit of advanced planning.
Yeah, I think, yes, it would need a bit of advanced planning, which could be something you do through the school. Again, you could ask the school to put it out through the parents. It's a great opportunity, isn't it, to involve people who aren't part of the church family and to do something in a neighbourhood. And it partly depends how well defined your parish area is, I guess. But maybe the community involved with the school, yeah, great way. And maybe to get people who wouldn't be part of the church to come together to help build your nativity scene in the churchyard as well. So, great chance just to build relationships and do some stuff together, while also trying to tell the story and talk about the story.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I think another place that I'd really suggest that you looked at was the outdoor events. I don't know if any of you have been to that breakout room, but there's some really good ideas there as well on how to engage with the community. One way of telling the story that they're suggesting would be to have a Christmas tree type festival where people decorate their trees, and perhaps you could ask people to order the story. So, you know, you could have an angel tree and a shepherd's tree, and have some kind of quiz going on. So different ways to engage with your community. Did anybody else go to the outdoor session in the last session? No, because sorry, Pete.
I was going to say you'll find all the stuff from those sessions on the Padlet board website, which we're going to give you the link to in a bit. Yeah,
because a couple of the other ideas were to engage with the things that are already happening in your community, or the things that happened during lockdown. So one of the things that happened here where I am was that we had a big COVID snake that was created in the centre of town, where people would decorate stones and place them in a row to create a snake. So how can we adapt that theme and do something here? One idea would be to hide loads of angels around the town, and people would bring those to church, or even simpler, get people to decorate their own stones. with a Christmas character or something. And another idea that we're looking into is the rainbows that happened at the beginning of lockdown, and children were painting rainbows and putting them in the window. How can we engage with the school and create something that perhaps children can put in their windows for Advent or just for over sort of the Christmas period? I think that that would be really well received as well.
Thanks, me.
It's remembrance rather than Christmas, but the schools locally, all the children are going to paint stones with poppies, and all the poppies are going to be put in our churchyard. And then we're thinking of doing something similar for All Souls, with people putting names of people they want to remember in All Souls service. And then we're going to try and do the same with angels. But the local council are getting the seniors groups and various other groups to knit poppies, because you can't buy poppies. So we're going to yarn bomb the place with knitted poppies, and then we want to yarn bomb the place with knitted angels. So it's that sort of thing that Claire's been talking about. But a question for Claire, how many of these Advent bags and other bags are you making, and to whom do you give them?
Well, it obviously depends on how many families that you're hoping to engage with. I can't send a craft bag to all of the children in my local primary school, for example. So I'm going to make 30 bags for my Messy Church family, a further 30 for my toddler groups families, and then probably around 20 for my church families as well. And I'm going to try, and so the ones for the toddler group families will perhaps have some simpler crafts for that age group, whereas for the Sunday school children, for example, they would be aimed at more sort of Key Stage 2 children. So I'd sort of tailor them for that. But Baker Ross have got some fantastic resources that are fairly cheap if you buy them in bulks. So they do packs of 30 for most things. So I'd recommend you had a look there.
Great, thanks. Anything else? The cat's tail keeps distracting me. I think, Michelle, you're waving, but it's not. You're not waving. It's just one last thought. Then is just to think about what you do after Christmas. As a follow-up, and to think about having that ready to invite people to the next thing. So if you're making contact with people that you've not been in touch with before, think about, not just as far as Christmas, but January. And January is often a really difficult time for people, and it's a real time of a bit of a downer, isn't it? And it's supposed to, some people's mental health and stuff. So actually thinking about inviting them to something else, in Epiphany or Candlemas, or just some other time, something to invite them to that gives them something else to look forward to. That's a good celebration event, is worth thinking about, and putting that into your stuff that you're sending out. The other idea we talked a bit about was having using QR codes, because people are really used to that now, thanks to track and trace, and having that possibly at the end of your treasure trail or around your church, and people can click on that and then takes them to your church website or a page of your church website where you've put some resources around the Christmas story. We're talking about the Bible Society film, the Bob Hartman film that's out this year. There'll be some really good stuff, I think, coming out from the Church of England on the theme of comfort and joy, and it looks like some good resources there. So stuff you can download and post and signpost people to using QR codes as well. So I think we're probably going to get sent out. Anything else? Anybody want to quickly shout something? We've got 1 minute, 56 seconds, 5 and 10. So, great. Well, thank you ever so much. I hope that's helpful. And remember, if you want to come back for more, there's the 20th of October. We'll see you back in the main room.